Who do you talk to when you need a sounding board or a friendly ear about your business? Perhaps when you need a bit of moral support, or when you just need to kind of get things out into the open and get a bit of feedback from somebody. Is there a person or different people out there who are that kind of bounce back person for you? Interestingly, this is one of the things that I talk to my clients about all of the time, the power of talking things through. Now, obviously, my clients have that benefit because they have me to constantly talk things through with. But what I see an awful lot of the time is I will have a conversation with somebody and they will tell me about a particular challenge that they've got or something that's driving them slightly nuts. And I might ask them one or two questions about it, but the majority of the talking is just them and they're kind of offloading. And then they come to this massive realisation that now they've sort of expressed themselves, they've got it off their chest, they've heard it all back, and actually they know exactly what they need to do. And what I see happening a lot is when you have things in your head, they will go a million miles an hour. There is no logical order to them whatsoever. And it is literally like having fireworks in your brain. But also what happens is all these different things that you need to remember and you need to juggle and you're supposed to be doing and you've got to manage, they're all just firing off at various different times and different paces in your head. And it feels incredibly stressful. And when you try to work through things in your head, it can very often be really hard to feel as though you've got them in a logical order and you've got clarity and you've got perspective. Whereas that opportunity to talk about it and bounce your ideas off somebody else can bring you a massive level of clarity that you can't get on your own. Because what happens is, in order to explain it to somebody else, you have to slow things down enough to be able to actually explain it. You also have to slot things into a logical order so that it makes sense. And then what also happens after that is you hear it back then at a sensible pace and in a logical order, and it brings its own level of clarity, which is amazing. And sometimes what you might find is your friends and family, if they're not in business themselves, they don't tend to get what it feels like to run a business. They don't necessarily understand that it is a bit of a 24/7 thing, and that, you know, totally switching off and totally relaxing is quite a challenge, that the responsibility absolutely sits with you. If they have that lovely joy of a guaranteed paycheck every month, they don't necessarily get what it feels like, so they aren't always brilliant people to talk to and to get that feedback from. And sometimes you just need somebody else to tell you that what you're saying makes sense, and to actually give you permission to either move forward with an idea or actually cut yourself some slack. Sometimes you kind of need that sounding board when things are getting on top of you a little bit and you need somebody else to say to you, do you know what? You just need to step back a little bit. You're working too hard or you're overloading yourself. You actually need to cut yourself some slack. So that's my key thought for you today. It's a very simple one, but I also think it's an incredibly powerful one. So who do you talk to? Do you have a specific person or a group of people who are your sounding board when you need that feedback or you need to vent? This is obviously one of the things I do for my clients very constantly. They get the opportunity to talk to me every week or every fortnight, and they do the whole sounding board thing. So if you need a sounding board and you haven't got one, hit me up and I can do that for you. But you may already have somebody, and actually you might just need to think about planning it a little bit more often, because it's it's therapeutic, it's cathartic, but it can be a brilliant way as well to really focus on business ideas and business growth. So it's not just about offloading when you're having a bad day, it's also about bouncing ideas off somebody when you're thinking about something new and something exciting, and getting that reassurance or that feedback from somebody else that you're on the right track. So do you already have that person in place, or do you need somebody else who might be able to do that for you? I would love to hear back from you today about how this works for you, whether you're a talker, who you talk to, and how it really works for you. And of course, please feel free to share this video with anybody else who you think could benefit.